Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Yahliali in this incarnation. Well, I am here today to comment that we have the moon going through Scorpio here in Argentina. It entered yesterday at night. So at the moment that the moon entered in this sign, created a square with Pluto in Aquarius. Today it is creating a square with Mars in Leo, and tomorrow with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. They are all aspects of tension. So when the moon is going through Scorpio, it is inviting us to listen to ourselves in a very deep way, to look at aspects that we cannot put aside, perhaps because they are preventing us from, flowing with experience, or because they could be projecting situations on the external, it is an invitation to do this purge. And the square with Pluto in Aquarius could imply, that certain resistances or fears are activated to do things in a different way, and to, understand that the changes that we want to create, they require new movements. We have to add the square with Mars and Leo, and this could activate certain discomfort, the irritability. This could activate topics that are linked with self-esteem, romantic connections, that is also linked with the energy of Leo, and with our creative capacity, the light we want to share. So the energy of Leo, it is very associated with the inner child, with playing, with the enjoyment of the play, but also this could be linked with the tantrum of the inner child. And that anger is simply showing us that our soul wants to put the energy or the focus in a different space, and that we are not listening to it, or we are denying that call. So tomorrow, as I said, the moon is going to create this square with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Notice if there is certain situations, discomfort, could be manifestations in the physical body, or insights, these sudden comprehensions or sudden ideas that are giving signals of which is the direction that you need to assume, or where to produce the changes, how to flow with changes. We have to take this in account, of course, in the context of the lunation, the Sagittarian lunation, because, well, Mercury retrograde is approaching again the opposition with Jupiter. In mathematical degrees, they are still active. And even though Jupiter is retrograde, which means that it is not expressing its energy to the outside, it is also a movement of review. That area of our natal chart, the Gemini area, it is the one in which we are making this review of how we are expanding ourselves, how we are creating growth, our beliefs, our levels of trust in that, and the visions that we are having, ahead. The energy of Sagittarius and Jupiter is very linked with exploring, the new lens. But the difference between Mercury and Jupiter, because Mercury is in fact doing the same, because it is in Sagittarius, which is the sign ruled by Jupiter. But Mercury, it is only associated to mental processes, the communication, how we are expressing ourselves, how we are understanding the experiences. Jupiter doesn't rule the mind. It is a social planet, but it is right now in a sign that is totally associated with the mind. So with what I am trying to say with this is that there could be lack of clarity, indecision respecting the directions or the options that Jupiter and Gemini is opening. And that mental clarity that we seek, many times we can obtain it by making questions and not trying to, close the answers immediately, but to allow life reveals us the answers in the right time, and to find new perspectives that have actually sense. I'm saying this because many times, the shadow of Sagittarius could be linked with, I shot the arrow in that direction and I'm going, towards that direction. So we can continue to do the same thing in the same direction or with the same dynamics that is not giving results because also this lunation is in a square with Saturn, and Saturn shows us in a concrete way in the material reality results many times, even though it is a beginning of 6 months, a cycle of 6 months, but it is a planet of, that shows us in a concrete way the consequences of our actions. So it can occur a crisis of sense, in which we have to open ourselves to new ways and forms of reality. And this, the fact that we have to open ourselves to new forms of reality and new ways of growth could sound nice, but for the conditioned mind, many times this is very difficult to leave behind parameters that already knows. And on the other side, Saturn in Pisces in this square with the new moon in Sagittarius could present challenges. Those challenges have the purpose of creating maturity, of helping us to develop maturity in terms of, trust and being coherent with our own soul, even if this implies to put a boundary to experiences, situations, and people that we thought they were part of our purpose, but they are not. Perhaps they are not. Or maybe of trusting that while we are taking concrete actions along the way, in that inner alignment with our soul, the path it is going to be consolidated in spite of not knowing everything or how things will develop. And that we are going to be sustained by the divinity, but because we are doing that in that coherence. And this could also imply for us to open the perception and stop trying to adjust life in what we think that life should be, to observe for what life is presenting as it is. So I just wanted to leave this reflection today. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.